Javier Becerra had a chance to talk about single payer, and Katie Porter, this was like her one shining moment. She went after him, and he was like,
She chopped him
you
up.
waffling on this thing.
Brutal.
And Javier
Brutal.
Becerra was like barbecue chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like he was, hey, I'm doing this for you, Clara. If anybody who cares about musical theater as much as we do, Javier Becerra was singing Into the Woods. Mother cannot guide you. Now you're on your own.
I have chills.
Only me beside you. Still you're not alone.
Welcome back into the Armchair Politics Podcast. My name is David Coe. With me is Alex Smith and Dr. Christopher Carter, my guys. And y'all, we have a special guest for this June primary election. We have got a political commentator known for digging deep into the issues. She has an MFA in public policy, native Angelino. Please welcome to the show, Clara J Cox. Woo!
Thanks
How you
for
feeling
having
today?
me, David?
Been waiting on this one.
Yeah.
I'm
Tell us.
super excited. I mean, this race has gotten my heart rate, my blood pressure to new heights. I feel like we have so much to talk about with the different candidates and what this means for the state of not only California, but kind of the state of the country. And I have so many thoughts. So I'm really excited to be here. This is going to be
I'm so
fun.
excited to dig in. I really do think this is the most consequential state primary election I can remember, and I've been voting for longer than I'd like to admit now. All right, so we're gonna get right into it. We are filling out our ballots today. We're not actually going to be filling it out, but we're making our choices of who we are voting for. There are 8 pages of elections on this, so we are obviously not going to be able to discuss all of the races in the hour-ish that we have, but I am going to put all of our voting recommendations in the comments down below. I'm not going to do state assembly for the entire state of California, but I will do that. I will do all of the races for Los Angeles County. I don't have the energy to do every single race in California. The state is way too huge, and so that's what we're going to go. You can also hop to any race that we talk about by just clicking the chapter list down below. So let's get into this. Let's start with the big one that I know most people care about. California governor's race. The field there are a lot of people in the race. I think there are almost like 50 candidates, but let's be honest, there's really only 3. We're really going to be talking about Katie Porter, Tom Steyer, and Javier Becerra. Carter, why don't you get us started on your thoughts of the governor's race?
So I would say, if you go to my church, there is a sign up, right? When you walk in, I have all these different kind of sayings around. So Clara, this is gonna be deep dive into you learning about like this is a different kind of space than you go to a normal church. So there's a sign up that says
so into it.
To be a billionaire is to commit a crime against humanity. That's like literally one of the signs that I have on my wall, right? Yeah, see, exactly. So you gotta come visit. You gotta come visit, check it out. You might like. So anyway, so it's like it's over there.
It's a really cool space.
I'm like about to go to that church. FYI.
As a Jew, it is the Gentile church I frequent most.
That is the endorsement I was looking for. Actually, that is the endorsement I was looking for. I have had to reluctantly. I would say I don't even reluctantly is the right word. Surprisingly, Tom Steyer to me seems to be the person that is coming across as a class betrayer. I don't know what else to say it. Like, he is the person has the vast majority of his policies and platforms and arguments I agree with. I also see his evolution of thought. We can get into that because, and I think to me, that's what it means to be human. Like, you should be able to say, you know what, I was wrong about this and I actually have changed my mind and I've grown. That's a kind of reflection I actually want in a politician, rather than thinking you have to always prove yourself right. And so, like I said, we can get into there's still some things I don't love about him, but broadly speaking, he is the most progressive candidate and he's a billionaire, which is just like crazy. Wild. So
yeah, Clara.
Yeah. I mean, look, I wish I could come out swinging and say that I completely disagree with you, but I don't. It's been very surprising. And I almost want to take a quick step back and get just very quickly your thoughts on the structure of the jungle primary.
Oh, yeah.
Because I do kind of feel like it got us into this mess and just super quickly, because if I'm not in California and I'm looking at these 3 candidates, I'm thinking, how on earth has California ended up with this? And by the way, I saw a photo of someone's ballot in California the other day. There are 64 people on the ballot for mayor.
64! It's
Or for
amazing.
governor, excuse me, 64. Which is the result of the primary structure that we have, for better or for worse, which was put in place by Arnold Schwarzenegger, which I actually can't even go down that hole. So just really quickly, I want to know your
The
thoughts because
Governator.
please.
I've
Again,
got,
I think it was great.
so I've got a strong
including
take on this. I love that you asked. I wasn't going to bring this up, but I
Okay.
don't think the jungle primary. Everyone hates the jungle primary right now, and I get it. But I think that is a slightly. I think people are slightly have their blinders on, and the jungle primary isn't the problem. The fact that the jungle primary doesn't have ranked choice voting is the problem.
Correct.
I was
It's
going
that
to ask.
simple.
I don't know. I was going to ask if it's possible for a jungle primary to have ranked choice voting
Of
in our
course it
state
is.
constitution, which is super in the weeds, which we don't necessarily have to know because that's how we have to figure it out. But to me, that is the problem. If it was
Yeah.
ranked choice, then I think a jungle primary would make more sense because you could end up with a broad list of people to go to the general ballot that are in alignment with what most people would vote for, or right. And so I think the way it's structured is, is flawed in terms of the outcome, or
Uh-huh.
potential outcomes, I should say. I don't know. Alex, did you have any thoughts about this?
Yeah, no, ranked choice seems to be kind of where I was going to go, but yeah, I think this jungle primary is just to me it just does not. I don't get it. It doesn't work for me.
But yeah, I think the wrong answer here is to go back to a closed primary Republican
Exactly.
Right.
Democrat, because California is not an equally Republican and Democrat state. If we go to ranked choice voting, then we could have then no one's calling for Tony Thurmond and Antonio Villaraigosa to drop out because the ranked choice the mechanism of the ranked choice ballot does
Right.
that. We can rank Tom
Yep.
Steyer first and Katie Porter second and Xavier Becerra third and not
Right.
put Steve Hilton or the Smurf Republican sheriff Chad Bianco on our ballot at all. And so we don't have any of this, which I think is a false panic because I never thought Republicans were going to lock Democrats out of the runoff. I thought and people who keep sharing that really bother me. I never thought that was going to happen, and I still don't think it's going to happen. But if we had ranked choice
Mhm.
voting, wouldn't even be a discussion. So California, maybe a proposition for our next election, ranked choice voting in the primary. I think
Clara,
it'd be
actually,
great.
this is an interesting question that I have for you then.
Mhm.
In other countries, they have, broadly speaking, ranked choice voting for all their elections, right? Like everything as a way of actually constructing a representative democracy. Is that something that makes sense to you? Like from a democratic person, not small d Democrat, or I guess big D Democratic, like actual democracy, right?
Right.
Or do you think because I think there's a part of me that understands that so much of this is controlled by parties, and parties aren't always, rarely in this country,
Mhm.
acting in the best interests of the people they actually claim to represent.
Yes. Short answer is yes. Long answer is maybe. Like, I think the idea of ranked choice voting for every single race is great. I worry about accessibility. I worry about someone who doesn't have the time to do the research on everyone and comes in and just marks one, and then we're losing votes or dissuading people. And then the maybe comes from also, I think about like the way different taxes and things are voted on, how sometimes you need supermajority, sometimes you need majority. And so I think there would need to be a lot of experimentation and sort of more understanding about what that looks like when it comes to engagement. Because
Yeah,
again, I
yeah.
think I love the idea of it, especially for these statewide races. Like, that's a no-brainer to me. I wonder about the local level, what that does for
Yeah.
locking people out of the process.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Thank you. No, that's super helpful.
And I think we always love to everyone loves to reference the New York City mayor's race. And I think it's a great example of ranked choice voting. I know, right? We bring
I
up
know.
Zoran every
Are we gonna
episode.
do it now?
Every episode,
We're
we
bringing up
gotta-
Zoran.
wait,
We
before
love
we
Zoran.
do
About this, when we are about to have Mayor Spencer Pratt.
Get out of here. We are
I'm
not
going
having
to
we are not
lose
having
my
any
mind.
AI slop mayor. Shut up. We are not that's not happening. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Like, he's a joke. It's not gonna happen. We may
hurts
end up
me.
with terrible Karen Bass, but we're not gonna get Spencer Pratt. I promise you that much. So talk to us about some of the candidates in the governor's race, Clara.
Yeah. So, I oh my gosh, where to even begin? So let me do some quick disclaimers. I have found this race to be so excruciating, particularly online, particularly with third-party candidates. And
Oh,
I'm not talking
yes.
about third parties. I'm not talking about third parties. I support most of the Green Party platform. I support most of fully aligned. I don't think that people understand. I don't think candidates understand that one comment on a video does not equal one person voting for you. I don't know what is going on in this realm, but I just want to get that out of the way. I'm not voting third party because of the way that these candidates have run their campaigns, not because I don't align with third parties. So I just want to get that out of the way, and I'll make a video about that at some point.
I feel like I know who you're
So
talking
yes,
about
the
here, but
three.
anyway, we'll keep going. I have some feelings about it. I
Oh
think
my
I know who
gosh,
you're talking about, but
you
maybe
will.
that's an
I'll
off
make it
pod.
known.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay. All right.
Don't worry. Yeah, please. I mean, if you're gonna come and like bully me in my comments, then like I will talk on your name. Anyway,
Wait, has Butch
so
Ware actually gotten into your comments? Just as
absolutely, absolutely,
ay.
he
Oh
stays
my
there.
God.
It's like he's being paid to be there. It's
I
shocking.
didn't realize.
Yeah, no, it's
I knew
crazy.
his supporters were up in your comments causing trouble. I didn't realize he was there
Yeah.
himself. What a child.
Yeah,
What a
for some
child.
reason, someone running a governor campaign to lead the fourth largest economy in the world has a lot of time to be commenting on my and other creators' Instagram posts, which, is fine if you want to be a creator. It doesn't really give me the confidence that you have the leadership skills to be able to govern with people who disagree with you.
Spoiler
So
alert:
I
Butch Ware
digress.
is first a social media content creator. You're
Yeah,
right
and he's
there.
also not on the ballot, I should add, because he didn't file his paperwork correctly. So, and
We
there are
support
64 people on the
we
ballot, so
support
it wasn't that
candidates
hard to get on the ballot.
that only have a chance.
Okay, back to the big three: Katie Porter, Xavier Becerra, and Tom Steyer. Katie Porter's going to break my heart. I think this was hers to lose, if I'm going to be honest. I love Katie Porter. I think she is so excellent at what she does. I think she's a great lawmaker. And unfortunately, due to the society that we live in and the PR nightmare that has surrounded her, she was not able to overcome just some of the hurdles that people had when it came to voting for her in time.
Katie Porter,
Devastating.
the Brian Kelly of the California primary, LSU
So
football
Clara,
coach.
So,
really
so
quick,
she doesn't know,
Brian
but
Ke-
that's the best comp like of all time. Go ahead, Alex, explain to her.
Brian
That
'Cause
he's
Kelly,
like
right?
really good at his job, but like people don't like him anyway, right?
yeah, people don't like him. And so Brian Kelly, I'm from Louisiana. My team is LSU Tigers, and so
Okay.
football team, very big deal. He was the coach
His
up
Lakers.
until this past year where he got fired. It's a Lakers thing, David, even though
It
similar
works.
colors. And so he was just very much not liked at Notre Dame, his previous coaching job.
Okay.
He did competent work, but just no one liked him because he was kind of an asshole. Then came to LSU, and he was just kind of a lighter version of the asshole. So, but still,
And listen, we love assholes in Louisiana. You can curse. You're good. We
Okay.
we love Louisiana. We love
yeah.
assholes in Louisiana, but he wasn't our brand of asshole, and so
You know, that's gonna get clipped, right? That's gonna be clipped in an interesting way. But anywho, I think that I think that
Yep.
the thing with Katie Porter, I think there's a certain kind of charisma and ability to actually engage people that feels like it's authentically you and doesn't like regular people doesn't feel like they're coming across as you are. I don't want to use talking down is what is coming to my mind, but it's really just like again that's authentically you. It actually feels like you
Yeah.
care about their well-being. Like it is it's literally charisma, and I think that's what it is. But in terms of like
Yeah.
legislating, right, that is where I think she would be excellent. And so this is I think more of a strategic failure her for her part. Just to years ago by not staying in the house, like trying to do things too fast, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's where I would go back and say, but hopefully something comes along and that she finds her niche because she is the kind of person you would think that we need women involved in politics. We need smart people involved in politics. And I think obviously she sits at the intersection of that.
I think
Yeah.
I think she'd be great at setting up California's own Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Absolutely.
And I think
like,
she'd be so
she'll have a
she'd
very
be
long career.
and she'd not only would she be good at it, but I think it would turn around her popularity in the state.
I totally agree. And like just you know, maybe not elephant in this room, but elephant in a lot of rooms. uh, if I think we would maybe be gentler on her if she were a man.
100%.
Like,
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
ain't elephant in this room. We get it.
Yeah. No,
Like,
patriarchy
it
is real.
It's
Patriarchy is real,
it's,
man.
it's not
just
it's
what
not
it
being
is.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
No,
it's
And
taken.
if Katie was leading in the polls, I would be happy to vote for her. I would be
Yeah.
thrilled, actually, to vote for her. The only reason I'm like not really throwing my weight behind her is because I don't think that she has a chance of getting on the ballot at this point, unfortunately. I
Yeah.
want to be super clear about that.
I'm gonna be honest. I have softened on Katie Porter in the last couple of years because like she has become more moderate than she was in the House, and I'm really glad that on Tuesday she didn't say this line, but for like the last month she's been really pumping this line of I am the only candidate in the race who has not taken a dollar from corporations, and I find that so insincere that it really turns me off because no, technically Katie Porter's campaign has not taken a dime from corporations, but the super PAC that is supporting her and only her has taken 6 figures from Uber like this month. So like and like what you were talking about how ranked choice voting might not work because voters aren't as plugged in as they need to be. I don't think voters should have to parse that sentence the way I just did for like it to be true. Like if you're saying I don't take money from corporations, like that should be broadly true, not true in the most narrow sense, and that worries me that as governor, her communications will not be as honest as I would like. So, Alex, what are you thinking?
Well, first I wanted to make sure, Clara. So Steyer, right? You're kind of okay.
Well, we're gonna get into it. That's
Okay,
not
we're
an
gonna-
official
okay,
endorsement.
okay.
I love this. I love this. It's a very just. I love it.
Like,
The hedge. Hey, wait.
Exactly.
wait. So
This is the only race I'll do this on, by the way. I have very strong opinions about
That's fair.
everyone else.
I feel the same. I'm very uninspired by the governor's race. And I'm gonna go with Steyer for just really the 2 reasons. It ended up really with 1 reason. The first reason is he's going after the utility companies, and so if like one of the things that I think Barack Obama was talking to Stephen Colbert recently, and he was basically saying, and I kind of get tired of this because they're like Democrats need to talk to people like they're normal people and not give lectures. I'm like, Barack Obama, you were literally called the professor in chief, brother, my brother in Christ. You was talking way over these people's heads.
Yeah.
Democrats typically talk in ways that people understand. Sometimes people just don't want to hear it. Now, so my thing is that I love that he's doing that because that is something that when you're dealing with the housing crisis, you have to deal with the ways in which people can't afford not just to live in their house, but to afford to keep their house running. And so if electricity costs and everything continues to increase, but our quality isn't great, they turn our stuff. I'm not trying to curse. They turn our stuff off.
Our fucking
and
shit.
They turn our shit off and say, hey, you can't use this at this time. And it's like, hey, we need to conserve water, do all this stuff, and we're going to conserve electricity. The grid's overpowering. And I'm just like, all right, well, everybody's paying hundreds of dollars. So anyway, I think that to me was kind of really important because that really attacked, I think, something that is affecting everybody on every level. I also think single payer, it's time. And there was obviously a debate on the 5th of May, and Xavier Becerra had a chance to talk about single payer, and Katie Porter, this was like her one shining moment. She went after him, and he was like, you waffling on this thing.
Brutal.
And Xavier Becerra was like barbecue chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like he was, hey, I'm doing this for you, Clara. If anybody who cares about musical theater as much as we do, Xavier Becerra was singing Into the Woods. Mother cannot guide you. Now you're on your own. Only me beside you. Still you're not alone. No one is alone. Truly. That was
amazing.
if you
I did not expect
play
that coming.
Perfect reference.
Thank you, Clara. I was looking for your approval. I spent some time working on that
That's so
in the last 12 hours. But Xavier Becerra had this look on his face where he was like, "Oh, I'm alone in this. Like I have no plan. I have no ideas
Yep.
for what to do with regards to healthcare." But he keeps touting the fact that he saved our healthcare, the ACA, from Donald Trump, but
Right.
he doesn't have any ideas. And so,
Right.
anyway, I know that went very long with regards to
No,
how I
amazing.
feel about the race. Obviously, I feel very similar about Katie Porter.
Yeah.
But it seems like, yeah, like Carter says, Tom Steyer is kind of feels like a class betrayer, and and honestly feels like the most progressive in the race. And whether he can execute is
Well,
going to be the issue. I have a thing about wealthy people. If you have not gone through personal trauma, that has been a great equalizer. I think, FDR had polio. That was the great equalizer. He understood suffering because his money couldn't save him. And so that allowed him to create things like the New Deal that unfortunately excluded a lot of black folks. But otherwise, it allowed the New Deal but he
polio being the
understood.
great equalizer is just like
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Also because it's probably going to make a comeback with what RFK Jr. is
Oh,
doing.
God. Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
saved a starling yesterday. I don't know if you saw that.
I did. I saw
I'm
that.
surprised he didn't eat the bird's head. So,
But
anyway,
if
that's
y'all know
where.
anything about me, RFK Jr. stay taking strays.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
But
mean,
yeah,
now
what do you
really
guys
quick.
think?
well, really quick, what do you guys think of this moment of Heidi Becerra not being able to answer this idea of healthcare that's really important to a lot of Californians?
Well, not
Honestly,
only
I
healthcare,
think
he
it's
had a moment like this in the first debate too about with Swalwell.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is, and this might be a career politician thing, which I totally understand, which is knowing everything you say can and will be used against you, so not wanting to dig into it directly. But when you have people like Tom Steyer and like Chad Bianco in the race who are willing to just say it, whatever it is, good or bad, you kind of need to meet the moment with that energy. And so I agree, the waffling and kind of the politicianing is not appealing to people in the same way that it used to. I wish it did, trust me.
So
But
I
I
think
agree,
that's a
he
really
just is wavering on it.
I agree with you, and I think that like he's got a really old school politician about the way he way he campaigns. And if you look at
Yeah.
the last 3 winners of the presidential elections, all people who just say their shit. I mean, Joe Biden too. Like Joe Biden is known for putting his
Yep.
foot in his mouth. So I really think it's this old school method of I don't want to say anything that's going to hurt my campaign doesn't work in an attention economy. And real quick before I get too deep into to my talking about the governor's land election, some quick transparency because it's important. Last fall, my wife and I were both a part of the social media campaign, the Yes on Prop 50 social media campaign that was funded by Tom Steyer. And earlier, a couple of months ago, my wife and I, Ravenna, were invited to a listening session with Tom Steyer where we were paid a small appearance fee. And that listening session is honestly where I started to turn around on Tom Steyer because I was not a fan of him going into this race because I was like, ooh, billionaire. And the first thing I noticed about him was his willingness to hear criticism.
Yep.
And because basically that's what that list, there was about 7 or 8 influencers besides my wife and I at this listening session. And most of it just divulged into us just kind of ripping into him. And for private equity, for his history, and we were all really kind of surprised that he heard us and he was taking notes. And it's the reason why I'm voting for him is because people wonder like how you're incredibly anti-carceral. How can you vote for someone that invested in ICE? And it's like, yeah, I'm more interested in where you are today and not where you were 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I was a young Republican, and would you not vote for the socialist you see in front of you because 20 years ago I was a young Republican? So it's Tom Steyer's ability to hear criticism and own his mistakes that is why I'm voting for him. And Xavier Becerra's style of just brushing things aside and being like, no, this isn't actually a big deal, I don't need to address this, is why I can't support him. So
He keeps
as
calling
he,
everything a mega plant, and I'm like,
yeah,
bro,
like when he was
that's a
asked
bad
about
look to keep legitimate criticism.
when we were talking
Right.
about when people ask him about his at his time at as HHS secretary, when 5 figures worth of children, were undocumented immigrants were sent into underage labor and were forced into hard labor. And that's clearly a mistake by HHS, and that to me is not disqualifying. We all make mistakes, and to me what's most important is how you take ownership and accountability of those mistakes. Because no, it's not a MAGA story that, you know, tens of thousands of undocumented underage immigrants basically got sold into underage, I don't want to call it slave labor, but underage, like, hard working conditions where a lot of them were hurt because they were working in meat packing and doing jobs that are really not safe for children. Like, that's not a MAGA story. Like, Democratic Congress people wrote HHS with their concern about this. And so the act of itself is not disqualifying, but the unwillingness to have any accountability toward it is really concerning. And if it were just that one thing, I wouldn't mind it. But, like, Xavier Becerra has a really checkered history as Attorney General, you know, threatening journalists and protecting criminal sheriff's deputy. As an LA County resident, I want, like, there are known deputy gangs in the LA Sheriff's Department, and the fact that Xavier Becerra was protecting those deputies that were not accused of but convicted of crimes is really concerning to me. I don't want to get too deep into the police accountability about this debate because next week on the pod we are having award-winning journalist Cerise Castle, who focuses on the LA County Sheriff's Department, and we are going to spend an entire episode digging deep down into specifically the LA County Sheriff's Department election and the police accountability that goes with it.
David, you sound like an op, buddy. Sorry, that's all.
Oh wait, am I on Threads?
Yeah, I know you're on Threads, but all right. So let's kind of, Clara. I want to get your final thoughts on the mayor.
So quick. Race. So I'm leaning Steyer. I haven't made my final decision yet. I'm holding out some little bit of hope. I agree with everything you have said at face value. Steyer has the most progressive platform. Whether he follows through with it, I have no idea. Based on what he's saying, he is the most progressive person in the race. And then just a quick note, because you were talking about police accountability when Becerra was AG, you know, Kamala Harris lost so many votes because people were calling her top cop for doing a lot of the same things, or being perceived as doing a lot of the same things that Xavier Becerra did. And I'm not seeing any of the same heat. And, you know, maybe that's the Katie Porter plight. We probably all know why that actually is. But it's just very interesting that the, you know, sort of swell of support toward Becerra post this information about Swalwell coming out
has come without any question.
Right.
Yeah. That's been the most disconcerting thing about this election to me.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, I do think that will come up in a general. To be fair, I do think it would come up in a general if we got to it. But, like, you know, patriarchy. All right, you know.
Well, yeah, no,
right.
I shouldn't say it like that. I'm like, it's terrible. I'm not saying it's not bad. It's terrible.
I actually don't think this is patriarchy. I don't think that's what Clara is saying. I think what Clara is saying,
in terms of the heat that
the Katie Porter got, 100%.
Yeah, the heat that Katie Porter got, the heat that Kamala got, that Xavier Becerra isn't getting.
Right. Oh yeah,
for doing the same thing.
That's what I mean.
Same thing, arguably.
But yeah, honestly, the most concerning thing about this race to me has been the lack of smoke that Democrats have had for Xavier Becerra. Because, like, y'all got smoke for Katie Porter, y'all got smoke for Tom Steyer, y'all got smoke for Matt Mahan. Like, we should have smoke for everyone. We should have smoke for everyone because these people are going. Whoever our governor is going to be is going to work for us, and they need to be accountable to us. And they're not going to be accountable to us if we don't ask for it.
Yeah.
I feel like
look, he's undeniably qualified. Undeniably would, I think, do a great job. But he's a very establishment candidate, getting support from people who say they do not want to support establishment candidates anymore. It's been a very, very interesting. It's been interesting. This whole election season.
So we know what you turned me on to, which I am now enthralled with, is the insurance commissioner election. I think most people think of
Yeah,
this position as an afterthought.
Clara's
But
like, let's
especially,
go.
but let's go, insurance
She's just
commissioner,
like,
baby.
They got the chin straps
Ah.
on. She's
No,
like,
I have this same thing because why would I ever think about insurance commissioner? Obviously, I would do my research and figure out who like my candidate is. But I had the opportunity to meet with Jane Kim, and
Exactly.
I did not realize what the insurance commissioner can do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know, she laid it out so clearly for me because you think about this, like you need insurance to build any kind of generational wealth. You need insurance to have a car. You need it, which means you need insurance to go to work.
Yeah.
Like you
Life.
need insurance to get home. You need insurance to start a business. You need insurance to kind of be alive. And that insurance is so much more readily given to people who already exist in a place of privilege, in a place of wealth. And it's so often denied to people who aren't. It's been such a massive contributor, especially in California, when you think about the disaster insurance that's needed, when you think about the transport insurance that's needed. It has been such a huge divider in who gets to become wealthy and who doesn't. And I would never have put the budget size, the amount of approvals, the amount of just hands-on that the insurance commissioner has. I never would have thought that this fell into this department. I mean, this insurance commissioner can help with making sure that children have health care.
Yep.
Making sure that we have like a single payer insurance policy.
I didn't even know it was an option, Claire. I had no idea that was an option until I read her platform. She was like, we could have single payer auto insurance. I was like, what?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
I
damn.
could not believe it. I could not believe it. Like the idea that your premiums get capped even if you're in an accident, like all of these things that just hammer families, that just make it, that are so hard for people to be able to pay. And ultimately it is an affordability campaign, which
100%.
I guess, you know, if you really kind of like, that shouldn't be so shocking, but it was very, very surprising to me. And Jane Kim, who is Working Families Party candidate, she was their president.
I think she might still be the president.
Yeah, I think she ran California Working Families Party at some point. That sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she worked for the state in San Francisco for many, many years. She is great. She is so. I mean, I'm so thrilled to be able to vote for her. She checks off all these boxes. She has really, really, really like lofty ideas, but she has a very clear way to get there. Which we'll get into when we talk about the mayor's race. But she just, I saw her plans and I heard that they were, you know, far reaching, but then I heard her lay out exactly how she wants to do it. She has the connections in the state to do it. Yeah, that's a no-brainer to me. There's not, I don't even know, I don't even want to talk about any other candidates.
I
Vote for Jane Kim.
100% agree. I think this is the difference between someone, a candidate that has an imagination versus a candidate that only can regurgitate talking points. And that's fundamentally it.
Mm-hmm.
You have someone who can actually has faith in their ability to not only to accomplish what they can imagine, that they can imagine something different and actually build towards it. This is why Zoran won. It isn't because he was just saying stuff. He actually, like, I'm just saying, like, but like he wasn't just, he's like, this is what I can imagine a future. I have faith that it can happen, and this is how I'm going to make it happen. Right now, if you've ever been to, if you've listened to any black preacher in the history of this country, but if you even want to start with Martin Luther King Jr. and go forward, this is what we do. I'm like, this is what that is. I'm like, this is not that hard, you know, but so many progressive candidates have lost that. They just lost it. They lost the imagination and they've lost the faith in it, that it can happen, which is why people have lost faith in the government, right? But she has a strategy, just like Zoran, that you actually look at, you're like, oh, this is possible. This is very possible once people find out what you can do. And so, no, to me, there's this funny joke that Chris Rock had years ago about insurance. When I was poor, I thought it was even funnier. About in case shit. He's like, they should call it insurance in case shit. And if shit don't happen, I'd get my money back. And like, that's what I'm saying. And like, I'm like, that's what it is. And if you ain't get your money back, where the money go? You know what I'm saying? Like, exactly. I'm like, it's just for people to. It's a pyramid scheme for people to make money. Funny. So anyway, that was a classic joke, but funny. So I was hoping you're gonna say Jane, because I was like, this woman, yes, she's amazing.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
And I can't not have a discussion about insurance right now and not talk about that two major areas in Los Angeles are
Yeah.
still burnt down, and residents are still living out of trailers, living out of hotel rooms, trying to rebuild their house and struggling with insurance companies. So clearly what we are doing in the market right now doesn't work. But I just want to hammer again how low-key important this race is, and how Jane Kim is the only one in the race that has the imagination to make the insurance commissioner actually a change maker for good in this state.
And it throws a little bit of cold water on you guys really quick.
That's my guy.
Yeah, why not? Let's do it. Your imagination is fascinating, and I have the same imagination. I'm just a slight little bit more pessimistic that we can build out.
It's got my boy Ben
Hey.
Allen.
Hey, look, no, I mean I'm waffling on him. Jane is I'm with her, and so
Ben Allen reminds me of Austin Reeves, and I mean that in a complimentary way.
right. Let me tell you something. Austin Reeves is Los Angeles Laker. If you're uninitiated, and he's not the fastest guy, but he's quick. He's very herky jerky. He can get his shot off. And he's the second best player on the Lakers. Very unassuming.
Okay.
Very unassuming guy, but has shifty moves and will hit 20 plus points a night. But
let's look at that stat line from Tuesday.
Yes, from Tuesday. So my thinking is, okay, so we want to have this kind of single payer almost version of insurance in California. So are we going to do another bond? How do we get the money to be able to do that? And are we going to do for homeowners insurance, renters insurance, and car insurance? So I love the imagination. I need to see how this shit's going to play out, because I got in an accident recently, or 2 years ago, excuse me, my fault, but it was just a little fender bender. The person has, I don't even know if I'm supposed to say this, who cares? But the person has supposedly racked up over $275,000 of medical expenses that my insurance company was like, don't worry about it, we'll settle. And they were like, this is just how it works in the industry. So it's a big problem. It is a big problem.
Yeah.
And I think Jane has the imagination for it, but it's like, can imagination meet execution? Zoran had imagination. He had imagination for shit that he like, this is like basic blocking and tackling that I can do. And that is very manageable. So this is a very big endeavor. And so will she get the buy-in from the governor? Will she get the buy-in from the state legislators? Like, so all this is great. And don't want to throw too much cold water, but like, can it be done? Are we voting for somebody who basically will be spending their time in office trying to do something and not have it done by the end of, maybe 1 or 2 terms, or at least the makings of that?
Be kind of just like what we're living in now.
Yeah.
Oh God. I mean, I think that. So I don't know, Clara, if you have any additional information what I'm going to say right now in terms of the possibilities. Some of it is a matter of what she has control over in the office that a lot of people just don't know that they have that much power.
Right.
But I would say more importantly, some of the decisions she wants to make with respect to the way she wants to handle like homeowners insurance with respect to fires is similar to what other European and even Asian countries do, right? So this isn't like it's novel from an American perspective, but it's actually not novel from a global perspective, which is very American. Like, we're going to keep doing the wrong thing and just keep doing the wrong thing until eventually, I don't know, it burns down, right? Like, so I think
Wansler.
it's, yeah, well, there we go. Keep doing the wrong thing till it turns out right. So, I
think we laid down the insurance commissioner. Anybody got any last thoughts on that, or we want to do some quick hitters on the rest of the statewide races?
We can do some quick hitters.
All right, we all agree. Attorney General, we're voting for Rob Bonta. Controller, we're voting for Malia Cohen. Secretary of State, we're voting for Shirley Weber. Agreed.
Yeah.
Love it. We might have some disagreement on these ones. Treasurer, Eleni Koulakoulis.
Yeah,
y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all look at me like I'm crazy.
I'm looking. I don't know how to say her name.
I wasn't going to try it.
You can always count on me to put my foot in my mouth.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Governor.
I was gonna say with respect to treasurer, as far as I could tell with the research I could do, because some of their websites, their campaigns aren't very detailed.
You like Caballero?
Ana Caballero to me seems like a stronger candidate. Not only from her what she proposes she wants to do, but the way in which she actually is talking about how to use the resources or her particular position in ways that can resist immigration enforcement. That's been like illegal immigration enforcement. But no, let me say that back because it sounds terrible. ICE. She's trying to be like, how can I actually do this shit to actually make it harder for them to do what they're doing? She
and I love a treasurer that hits them in the wallet.
She's pro union, like pro farm workers in particular.
Yeah.
And once I saw that Dolores Huerta was like a friend of hers and had like supports her, that is for me, it's kind of like, well, you know. Like that alone, like, you know, if a black or a brown woman says, like, you know, that I know has a history of civil rights activism is going to support you, I'm probably going to lean that way. So I would say that's, from what I've been able to find, that's how I would vote for. But I can't, like, you know, I still need to do a bit more, but that's definitely where I would lean right now.
Yeah.
All right,
I
you
like
moved
it.
me.
I fuck with it. I fuck with Ana Caballero.
That's fair.
I fuck with it. I love it. That's why we get together and talking.
Yeah. Well, this is, you know, food stuff is, y'all know, that's my bag. 'Cause that's how I found out about her.
I love it. For State Superintendent of Public Education, Nichelle Henderson, everybody?
Yeah.
What are we thinking?
Yeah.
Nice. Lieutenant Governor, there might be some disagreement on this. I think we're both on, some of us are on Oliver Ma, some of us are on Michael Tubbs. I think they're both good choices. I know.
I'm going
Yeah,
Tubbs.
would be happy with either. Honestly.
And I think Alex Smith really makes a really valid argument for Tubbs, is that the lieutenant governor is essentially the vice president of the state, meaning they preside over the Senate but don't really have any responsibilities unless something happens to the governor, at which point they become the governor. And I do think there is some real value in Tubbs having executive experience.
And for what it's worth, I think Newsom appointed him a couple of positions, particularly. I forgot what Newsom appointed him as, but I know that during Tubbs's term, he really he did a lot of like gun violence prevention stuff and mentorship for at-risk students, and he did the universal the UBI.
Tried out UBI in Stockton. You love it.
I'm like, okay, well, who would I want to be an executive if the governor is incapacitated or cannot perform, and whose vision do I trust? Tubbs, I'm big with him. What about you, Carter?
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, I'm on Ma, but I mean, broadly speaking, because I am a socialist, like to my core. So I'm like, it's hard for me to go for someone's actually endorsed by DSA, unless they have some other, you know, problems. I'm probably that's the person I'm going to lean towards. I think one of the things about Tubbs is he that's what the one thing he's known for with respect to universal basic income, but to nonprofits he's run and everything since then, he seems to have become much more moderate. And I think this is what happens when you're trying to get more money, you know what I'm saying? And more influence.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
And he endorsed Bloomberg in 2020. Yeah.
Yeah. And so for me, I'm like, I want someone who is explicitly going to be about a kind of socialist populist candidate. Someone's actually going to talk about the atrocities and what's happening overseas in wars, particularly with respect to Israel and Palestine. And because of the role they have over the education fund, like he actually can make it so we can divest from Israel, basically, like actually use divestment as a strategy to prevent apartheid, which is essentially what happened in South Africa. This is the only way you get authoritarian countries to actually change. It is the best use of soft power because it hits them in the pocketbooks, right? Like we don't have to be going to war with folks. You'd be like, oh, okay, we're gonna divert some money, and you know what? When the money gets tight, like eventually people actually have to make a business decision, and they decide to do something different. But this is the way you hold them accountable. And so for me, that is one of the primary ways, and that is not the only reason, but it's one of the primary reasons. His socialist platform for me is the reason that I would vote for him over Tubbs. So
I love it. A little bit of disagreement. It's perfect.
Well, you know, it's all right, man. It's like, you know, sometimes you gotta be a strategic voter. This is where if we had ranked choice voting, it'd be fine, you know.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna those are the statewide races we're gonna talk about. We're gonna move into city, and we're gonna start with city controller because this is the strongest endorsement I can give. Kenneth Mejia is fucking awesome.
Yeah, let's
He
go.
is such a good city accountant. Not only does he provide super clear transparency, like I love this right here. He's showing us the city budget operational changes. So he's showing us how much more money we're spending on departments or less money we're spending on department year to year. And so you can see the change from 2023, 2024 to 2024, 2025, how much more we're spending on police than and how much less we are spending on street services, for example. So when we get to the mayor's race and Karen Bass says she's running to fix broken streetlights, we can look at the budget that she proposed and honestly do it. And the transparency is just half of it. Kenneth Mejia has been so great about fraud and waste accountability. Like the one decent thing I've seen the Trump administration do is a couple months ago you saw the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of California bring a $23 million fraud case against a homeless provider in Los Angeles County. And that case stemmed from a tip that came from Kenneth Mejia's waste and fraud abuse tip line. The dude is doing it on all fronts. He also he makes government accessible. This is his website. It's so great. There's an interactive city budget, so you can really dig down into what we are paying, not just departments, but what we are paying within that. He's got a map of all the public bathrooms. If you've ever been wandering around LA that access to a public bathroom sucks in LA. And so boom, look at this. He's got us. And I couldn't endorse him stronger. I did some research into his opponent, Steven Sokoloff. You know who maxed out donation to Zach Sokoloff. There it is. Thank you. You know who maxed out donation to Sokoloff, Alex? Robert Kraft, giving our boy a hand.
Oh man,
Really? Was it
that
massage parlor? You think?
Hey, there it is. So that's the kind of person who supported Kenneth Mejia's opponent. I don't know why. I saw someone's ballot that was they voted for Spencer Pratt and Kenneth Mejia, and honestly, that doesn't surprise me because even though Kenneth Mejia is a socialist, the controller has absolutely no lawmaking power. And so Republicans vote for him because even though he is a lefty socialist, he is the best at his job and clearly the most transparent. And because city controller is just about transparency, Republicans like him too.
Well, that's classic, in Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez's district, so many people voted for her and voted for Trump.
Yep.
Because neither of them talk like politicians. The crossover was insane. But yeah, Kenneth Mejia is the only option. It's like what we said about Jane Kim. It is like the bravery to imagine that something could be different. It is to have the imagination within a controller position, which again, when a lot of people hear that, that's like a stuffy nothing office. And just the way that he
is completely
threw that umbrella
reimagined the
open and
position.
made it about so much. Yes, it's so exciting. Transparency is obviously like a massive theme of the now. And I feel like people in California who were maybe red leaning or who were like supportive of what Doge thought they were doing or whatever, will get behind this because they're doing what Doge could never do. And using kind of twisting that Republican language, that marketing language of waste, fraud, and all that is just so genius. It's so good. And I'm excited about having someone younger in that position. I'm excited about having someone who's very, very social media and tech savvy in that position. Hope he wins. I can't really imagine that he won't.
He's gonna win.
Yeah, he's gonna win, man. He's gonna win.
So, even so much, unless y'all got something else to add, I think that
I do.
Yes, talk to me about Ken.
I do. So I have two cons.
Yes.
Kenneth Mejia is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Very unassuming. I love unassuming, but I'm telling you, he's the best in the game. He's not the biggest.
But he's an ethical controller.
He's an ethical controller. He's incredibly efficient.
Yeah.
He's incredibly efficient. And so he is and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is the best player in the NBA right now. And he was MVP on a championship team. And I think Kenneth Mejia has that same moxie that he has.
And he's also a shit talker.
Oh, deeply in his bones. And my second comp for you, Clara, we're gonna go back to musical theater. Carter, you can
Please.
tell I'm really trying to be in the Loft band right
I
now.
know you
love
are.
it
You
so
are.
much.
You are.
So Kenneth Mejia's theme song, when he comes out, he doesn't need to campaign, but if he ever decides to campaign, he comes out. His theme song is from Tick Tick Boom. Actions speak louder than words. Hello, we're here. Why do we play with fire?
Huge.
Why do we run our finger through the flame?
Oh,
Actions speak
amazing.
louder than words. I'm telling you. So anyway, that
Perfect.
should be.
2 for
I
2.
needed your endorsement on that one, Clara. Does that work?
That's beautiful.
Fully
It's
endorsed,
beautiful.
and you're exactly right. He's just walking the walk. It's
Yeah.
so good. It's so
Yeah.
good, and that was a perfect comparison.
That was
2 for
delightful.
2.
Thank you.
You're nailing
Worked on
it.
another
Amazing.
that was another 12-hour one right there.
He's like, what'd you do last couple of days? I was working on musical theater.
I
Cops,
was
that's all. That's all.
musical theater cops.
David
It's
said
delight.
Clara musical theater, and I was just like, go
Done.
to my
Got it.
Rolodex.
Got it.
I feel
Ah.
so seen. I love it.
Oh.
Amazing. Let's move on to city attorney, because
Yeah.
I think this is another really important office that does not get talked about enough. The city attorney is really powerful and like really decides like who gets charged what on any non-serious felonies. And we have maybe the worst city attorney I have ever seen in my life. She is genuinely awful, and not only a bad city attorney, but like really just kind of strikes me as a reprehensible human being. I'm talking about current city attorney Heidi Feldstein Soto. She is genuinely terrible, whether it's filing an amicus brief to lift a restraining order to allow police officers to shoot journalists with non-lethal bullets. Thankfully, the city council got wind of that and was like, no. And like the city council votes 50-0 on nothing. And on this, they were like 50-0. No, you're not filing this. You are
Yeah, that was
absolutely
crazy.
insane for doing this. She is genuinely one of the most corrupt politicians, and she's not even a good corrupt politician. She's lost the support of. She had the complete backing of the Police Protective League for her original run, and she's lost. She does as the incumbent. She couldn't even keep the Police Protective League support. And while we're talking about police and Heidi Feldstein Soto, I think having an arrest for a DUI is not disqualifying to be city attorney. I really don't. I firmly believe in second chances. I believe that people make mistakes, and I believe in accountability. But what I do take issue with is making Heidi Feldstein Soto has made a centerpiece of her office prosecuting 99% of people charged with a DUI. But when she was charged with a DUI in the late 90s, she got it completely expunged. And it's the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
It's the two-tier justice system that is so prevalent.
Yep.
And when someone who like embodies that, like no, like justice system should be equal. Justice should be blind. And Heidi Feldstein Soto always puts her thumb on the scale in the direction of her donors. It's disgusting. Marissa Roy,
Hey,
all
David,
day, every day.
tell everybody how
Yes.
Carter reacted when we were talking about it offline yesterday. When we were talking to Carter about
He was like,
everything in the He's like,
"Oh."
what?
No, I didn't know.
She's the
It was
worst.
crazy. It was yeah.
She's just like a reactionary. Like she's
Yeah.
just retaliatory and just like I'm like I feel like she would have done this in any office she held. I'm not understanding it. But yes, Marissa Roy. All the
Marissa
way.
Roy.
That's who I'm voting.
Marissa Roy.
She and like not only do I agree with her policy positions. I attended an event with her, I think last month, 2 months ago, and like she passed the vibe check. She feels like a real person that understands, and that's what I want in a city attorney. I think she's great. This is a no-brainer to me. Who else? The other candidates in the race. John McKinney is now the candidate who is supported by the Police Protective League. So make of that what you will. I really like Ada Ashuri. I think she's great. I think she's a great person, but I think in a 4-person race, I can't support her because she doesn't have the juice that Marissa Roy does, and I'm not trying to split the progressive vote because the other two candidates for city attorney are genuinely terrible, and we have to have a progressive in the runoff, and that progressive is Marissa Roy.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think that when you finally have someone is trying to use that role for for public interest, right? Actually trying to talk about housing rights, tenants' rights, workers' rights. I mean, and so many of the candidates that I'm drawn to are the people who are actually, I mean, and it kind of goes back, we talked about earlier in affordability or whatever. It's like, how can you actually make the lives of regular people better by governing in a way that actually
Yeah.
benefits them rather than benefits like the small segment of people who are using, phrases that may sound populist, but you actually don't have the integrity. And integrity here is so important. And so, yeah, no, she's like, to me, it's like the only candidate that even, that I'm hoping gets on the ballot.
Yeah, to the runoff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Get to the runoff. Yeah.
Alex, if you got something else to say on city attorney, but before you do, I want to run back for a second because I have a Javier Becerra comp that I want to give to you.
Okay.
Javier Becerra is Jacoby Brissett.
Oh my goodness.
Like,
Yeah, the journeyman.
functional, can bring him in. You know what I'm saying? Like, functional, he's not gonna win you much, but he's not gonna lose you a lot.
He is a competent starting NFL quarterback. He's experienced. He has been there. He has done that. Y'all ain't gonna win anything of consequence with him.
I understand white people like Jacoby Brissett. Like, he's a black quarterback. They're like, I like that guy, even though his name is Jacoby. Like, there's something about it. Like, it doesn't really dissuade him. So I think that's another good reason. There you go.
Also, Javier Becerra easily has the coolest name in the race.
Yeah, that's a cool name. It's a cool name to say. Yeah, 100%.
All right, are we moving on? We moving on to the mayor's race?
Yeah,
let's get
to the mayor and Mayor Spencer Pratt.
Talk to us about Mayor Spencer Pratt, Alex.
No, man, it's great. So like one of the great things about social media is you get to see who people in your life randomly support. So when Charlie Kirk died, I saw a lot of people that I knew who were just like falling over themselves and extolling his virtues as if he was their version of MLK. And I was very surprised by some of the reactions I got. Same groups of people have surprised me with their support of Spencer Pratt, a person who has, truly contributed less to the human experience than anyone that I can remember of in recent memory who are involved in California politics. He's using, and it's a good playbook because it works. He's using a little bit of that white resentment towards like the left, the liberals, about the ways in which they've handled things like fire,
he is running the Donald Trump campaign. He is quite literally like the reality TV star candidate. And listen, like if you want an AI slop city, like Spencer Pratt's running the AI slop campaign, so you get what you pay for.
So something about me is that I love reality TV.
We do.
I've watched every single episode of every reality television show that you could imagine. I, was raised on The Bachelor, Bachelorette, eventually graduated to Housewives. I watch every single Bravo show. I watch everything. If you are of voting age in Los Angeles, you need to go and watch The Hills, episode 1 through the end. That is required if you are planning on voting for Spencer Pratt. What are we talking about?
Yes.
How are we possibly here? He sold pictures of minors to TMZ. That's who we're dealing with.
Yep.
That's shitty in reality world. I can't even believe that we're thinking about bringing that into politics. He is unqualified. He is a buffoon of a person. He cannot rub 2 brain cells together to figure out he was not invited to the Democratic mayor's debate because he's not running as a Democrat. I don't know who gave him the confidence. I don't know what. I cannot believe people
as a white man, I can
again.
answer that question. He was bored with it.
Yeah, I'm like, who gave him the confidence? I'm like, shit. He's like, I can tell you.
That's right. A silly question on my part.
White men. We're gonna white men.
Unqualified doesn't even cover it. He's unqualified to walk through the airport by himself. Like, let alone run the city of Los Angeles.
Right.
The city of Los Angeles, there are more people in the city of Los Angeles than there are in a lot of states. Like, what are you talking about? And by the way, living in Malibu for your whole life does not qualify you to understand the nuances of what public transport is going to look like, of what housing is going to look like, of what insurance is going to look like, of what any of this is going to need to look like.
And
He's an
technically,
idiot.
he's claiming residency in the Palisades, which is how he is able to run for mayor. I'm gonna say something. If you live in the Palisades, that doesn't qualify you to be mayor of Los Angeles, because the Palisades, while technically
Couldn't
in the
agree
city
more.
of Los Angeles, is a whole different world than what the 95% of the city that live in. I don't want him to take up too
Let's
much
name
space
it.
because he is a fucking joke. So if we've got any
Yes.
more jokes, let's get him off. But otherwise, let's move on to people who are actually relatively serious candidates. And I'm gonna start with Karen Bass, who honestly, like, she is significantly more serious than Spencer Pratt. Obviously, she's our mayor. But I don't even think she's a serious candidate. I think she has been such a bad mayor. I attended the streets for the housing and transit mayoral debate last month. And Karen Bass wasn't there. And if you're not locked in to housing in the city of Los Angeles, if that is not your top priority, then I don't consider you a serious candidate. And surprisingly, both her and Spencer Pratt weren't there. And so the serious candidates to me were there, and that was Nithya Raman and that was Ray. Sidebar, as we jump back to governor, another ding for me on Xavier Becerra is that he plans to skip the housing debate later this week on May 9th. And again, if, like, as an Angelino, I want you fucking locked in on housing, because that is 85% of, that's 65% of what's crushing our city. Transit's probably, 25, and then we got 10% on other stuff. And so the fact that she wasn't there was really disconcerting. Karen Bass ran on Inside Safe, and she, in Kamala Harris's endorsement of Karen Bass, what she said was Karen Bass recorded 2 consecutive years of the downturn in homeless population for the first time in however long. And that's true. It's true. Through Karen Bass's Inside Safe program, 1,400 homeless people have been brought into permanent housing since Inside Safe started. That may sound like it's okay, but we have 72,000 homeless people living on the streets in Los Angeles. So by rough math, we would, through Karen Bass's current track record, we're on pace to fix our homelessness problem in 36 years.
Well, that's with the assumption that no one else actually becomes homeless. So I'm like,
There it
so
is.
that's not, I'm like,
Oh my God.
so
Yeah,
the
right.
only way you
Assume that
fix
number
homelessness is if you build
Housing.
houses.
Oh,
That is
and
it.
I didn't even get to
Oh
the
my
price
God.
tag. We've spent $300 million as a city on Inside Safe to get 1,400 people off the street.
That's ridiculous.
Holy
To me, that is unqualifying the amount of money that she has wasted, and the fact that she is trying to polish this up and make it sound like she has done something great for the city. She is insulting my intelligence, and it pisses me off.
I think the thing, and I'm sorry, Claire, I don't want to jump over you, but I want to. I don't have much more to say about Karen Bass. The thing I wanted to critique her on most was homelessness, but the way people approach the issue to me speaks a lot. Do you approach it from the perspective, an actual, like, empathetic, compassionate perspective from the people who are actually homeless, or as a way to as a way to garner votes from people who don't like seeing homeless people on the streets, right? Because that, for me, fundamentally is it. Like, do you care about the people who are suffering, or the people who have to see the suffering, right? Because if you approach it from the people who are suffering, you are trying to do everything you can to maximize the ability, like, whatever rules you have to change and shift to get them off of the streets. But the way in which we've approached it in Los Angeles is that wealthy people, or just humans, don't want to look at the problem we have created. But
We don't want to get homeless people off
you
the streets.
change,
We want to get homeless people off our streets.
exactly. The only way you
And it's
change is if you
shameful.
look inward and say, like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Like, I remember when I was in South Korea, I was teaching English there for 2 summers. You don't see anybody that's homeless, because they're like, they have a sense of shame. They're like, you know what? It would be ashamed. We would be ashamed if you have people out here
Wow.
that don't have a place to stay. And like we should be ashamed of what we have created, given the wealth that we have in this city and in this country. We ought to be ashamed. There is not nearly enough shame that we have around this particular issue.
And Carter,
So,
what did you tell your kid when you guys encountered unhoused folks and he would ask a question? What is, I think you had mentioned this in one of your sermons about what you told him.
I talked to him about I talked to him about systems and structures, and I say this is because people are greedy. I'm like, this is greed that have made it this way, but we also have to see these people as human beings. If they say how we talk to them, right? We don't pretend they're not there. We don't do any of that. And he's not afraid because he sees them as people rather than seeing them as like something to be that don't exist. And my hope is that it gives them the awareness to say this is fundamentally evil and wrong, and we should do something about it. So
All right.
this got real theological. Sorry,
Real quick. Watching Carter parent is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
As a father myself, it's a joy to watch. Alex, Karen Bass, and I mean this in the most complimentary way possible. Karen Bass is Dennis Allen as head coach of the New Orleans Saints.
Okay.
Karen Bass, really good congresswoman, really good legislator. You know, Dennis Allen, really good defensive coordinator, just ain't built to be the head guy.
Can't do a head coach. Can't be a head coach, man.
Sure.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Anyway, you want to move on to Nithya or Ray?
Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way that you all do about Karen. It's the decision making is not sustainable.
Let's talk about the actual serious candidates, the progressives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clara, I don't know if you want to, because I feel like we've dominated the conversation, which unfortunately I apologize. It feels very, as we're sitting talking about patriarchy, so maybe we should let you. Okay. All right. I'll say something about Ray, obviously, as the person who probably maybe understands the moral perspective from where she's coming from.
Put your preacher collar on.
I know. I thought about wearing my clergy collar on here. I was like, actually do that. But no,
I love this
think,
perspective.
because I think for me, it is like I have had like multiple times have I thought if I was single, I probably would be a politician. I could never do that to my family because it's like being a pastor alone has showed me that it's so hard to be in a public spotlight and the pressure it puts on your family. But the thing is the same kind of moral imagination, the desire to, actually see human suffering as your own suffering, the desire to actually, like, literally what drives me to do my job is the belief in the dignity of all human people and is an idea that we can make the world a better place. Like, we literally can create a beloved community. And if you care about the systems and structures that can inspire you to do that, you're going to be moved to get involved in those systems and structures. And so when I hear Ray speak, I hear her addressing and talking about issues from a place of moral clarity and a place from a place of being morally consistent, which matters to me, and that is inspiring. The thing that makes me and has continued to make me nervous around someone like her has just been the inability to come with specific plans. Right now, this is again someone who is like very. I got more degrees. You see all these books, but this is like a small percentage of all the books I own, right? Like I have all, and one of the things I would teach my students when in class is about making an argument, responding to the strongest counter arguments, right? And then talking about why those, how your initial proposal actually, is still structurally suited to move forward, like whatever ethical argument you're making. Like, and I think that's where I see her fall flat, where there hasn't been as much follow through and think through on certain policies that I think are key to what she wants to do. And that's scary because this is a really big city and it's a really big job. And you could be like mayor of,
and
like,
it's an executive position, like a legislator just has to show up and vote. Right. Mayor's got to run the city.
Yeah. It's different. And so that's what scares me, even though I do think there are so many things I love about her. So that's what I'll say. So yeah, Clara, did you have any? I know you. Yes, I was guys. If you kind of thought about that, if that assessment was in alignment with kind of what you were thinking too.
Very much so. I think she's great. I think I love a lot of the things that she's saying. I have absolutely zero reason to believe that she has the sort of connectivity within the vast web of Los Angeles government to get any of those things done. I think she's just a little bit too green. I think that she has relied on the fact that her slogans have really garnered her a lot of support, which again, I think this has played a lot in a lot of different races, but there is a big difference between taking a moral stance on something and needing to be aligned with you on a moral stance, and then you having an actual policy or a plan in which to
Uh-huh.
implement anything.
Yep.
So I think it's a no-brainer that someone should be out here saying fuck ICE, and someone should be saying free Palestine. We need to agree on that morally for me to be able to support you. That is not a plan. That's not a
It's not a
policy
policy
platform.
position. Yeah.
That's not a program for the city of Los Angeles. So that's what's been really confusing to me is, again, I think all of the slogans that she's put out, all of the stances that she's put out have been very strong morally and would be a non-negotiable for me to be able to even engage in the idea of voting for someone, but it has not come with the meat and potatoes that it needs to. And unfortunately, it also doesn't come with the level of experience that I think someone will need to run the city of Los Angeles. I'm very hesitant to discredit people for, wanting to be in office who have never held an office before. So I don't want it to just be about that. I think everyone's got to hold an office for the first time.
Yeah.
I don't know if Los Angeles mayor is like the one. So, and I think I see a lot of people saying like she's the Mamdani of Los Angeles. And I
ma'am.
find that to be another kind of slogan-y thing to get
Yeah.
people on board and kind of keep them from doing any further digging. Also, we can't have a Mamdani of Los Angeles because the structure of New York and Los Angeles are so vastly different in how they function. Los Angeles is so horizontal, and you have to be able to work with and just you have to be able to know so many people and have so many different connections in order to make this work. Karen Bass is someone who is incredibly connected, who is incredibly qualified, and still fucked it up. So I don't
Royally.
have the confidence that Ray is going to be able to step into this and hit the ground running. I don't feel great about any candidate in this race, if I'm going to be honest. Nithya is my candidate because of the just slight level up on experience. And I'm not excited about really any of these candidates. I think Nithya is a phenomenal legislator. I think she's great. I do. I think I have a lot of respect for her. Would I have preferred maybe somebody who had all the things that we want them to have, of course, but I've never voted for a perfect candidate in my life, so it's not going to start now.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really important
again,
to remember,
I like
this
Ray
is a
a lot.
multiple
I
choice
like her
test.
charisma. I like
Mhm.
right. Yeah, I like Ray a lot. I'm not confident.
There was one
for those
ad
reasons.
that one thing that I live in the district next door to Nithya, so I've got a fair amount of experience with her, and I think that she's always to me been a very trusted and honest progressive city council. And one of the reasons why I'm voting for Nithya is that I think Karen Bass likes to feed us bullshit. Like, she likes to paint things pretty pink and blue, and things aren't pretty pink and blue in our city, and that has nothing to do with Donald Trump outside of ICE attacking our neighbors. Outside of ICE, all the other problems in Los Angeles are created by Angelenos, and so I think Nithya is the person who's going to be honest with us and be like, this is going to be hard, but here are the steps that we need to take to make our city better. And it shows that she really understands that. If you she had a social media ad last month that was talking about how there's much more there are more trees and more shade
Green
in
space,
more
yeah.
affluent neighborhoods, but when you go to poorer neighborhoods, there's no trees, and Los Angeles in the summertime is really hot, and there's a massive difference in temperature when under shade and in the sun. And the fact that she's highlighting that and understands these very real things that impact Angelenos is so important to me. She is easily the most serious candidate in the race. She is not a perfect candidate, but to me, she is head and shoulders above anyone in the race. Strongly endorse Nithya Raman. She is the kind of change the city desperately needs.
Yeah, no, and just kind of maybe to put a cap on this. So Clara, when a coach loses the locker room,
Okay.
and they have that's where Karen Bass is right now. She
Very
lost the
much so.
locker room.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any confidence in her as mayor of Los Angeles. And
Yeah.
so when you lose the locker room, that means players are looking around for a leader.
Yeah.
And sometimes the leader that ends up stepping up is maybe not they're maybe a year or two away from that moment, but the urgency of the moment is forcing them to move up their timeline, to kind of to be like, all right, well, and I
To
think
do it.
that seems like
Yeah.
what's happened with Nithya, where it's like,
Yeah.
I would have
Yeah.
been nice to have a couple of more seasons of the defensive
Yes.
coordinator and kind of do one
Yes.
or two things, but the team, the coach has lost the team, and we got to build this thing because the coach is probably going to be fired, and so
Yes.
we have to.
Coach better get fired.
Coach better be fired, and so and I think you were dead right where you're like, you've never voted for a perfect candidate in your life. I don't think anybody has, and I
Never.
think that for me, Nithya is the person for the moment, and she is the Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade, who's married to Gabrielle Union.
I know this one. Yep.
Okay.
Because of Gabrielle Union.
I used Gabrielle Union first just in case, but
I
Dwayne
was like,
Wade.
my antennas went up.
Yeah. Dwayne Wade was an incredible NBA player.
Yep.
He's not LeBron,
But
but he's
also an incredible dad.
an incredible dad, and
Well, maybe he
does.
could be.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, but he does everything so well. He's not like exceptional at everything, the way I think
He's an
sometimes like
8.5 across
Jordan,
the board.
LeBron, right?
Yeah.
But
Yep.
but does things kind of really well. All of the little things, and can take over a game if need be. So
Yes.
I think Nithya, to me, is the clear choice for LA, and I think she can really.
Nithya's gonna Euro step us to prosperity.
Yeah, I mean, Nithya can do the Euro stuff. But anyway, I think she'd be a real breath of fresh air for Los Angeles. And I'm so glad you said the thing about the Mamdani thing, because the rate of Mamdani comment just doesn't make any sense, because Mamdani had held office.
Mamdani's also he's also a singular talent. Like Mamdani is the top of the mountain.
Right.
Like I get
Once
why
in a
we compare him
lifetime.
to him, but let's be honest about it. Like we get you, like we're gonna get another Mamdani in 15 years. You get one a generation. Let's be grateful we got one.
Truly.
Yeah. And so, Clara, I want to ask you kind of overall view, your 30,000-foot view. How do you feel about this California primary season and the future of the state?
I feel like it's a good reflection of where we're at culturally and nationally. Like it is, we're going to have to figure out a way to break ourselves out of this, just having to pick from a bench of people that no one is excited about. And I feel like, talking about Mamdani, we can't compare people to him because he is singular, and I don't want him to be singular. I want us to have politicians like that all over. So what do we need to do to find people to better stack the bench? And I don't feel like that's exclusive to California. I feel like we're going to see that in the midterms. There are some singular people popping up. Like in Texas, we have Tallarico, who I'm just beyond obsessed with. Like that's a little singular to me, but I feel so bummed. I feel bummed. The 3,000-foot view is darn. I would have loved to have been really pumped about the candidate that I was voting for. It's California. California leads the way. Things California does, the rest of the country does in 7 to 10 years, consistently. And so I don't love the precedent that we're setting. I don't love what it says about the rest of the country. I'm hopeful in some small pockets, Jane Kim being one of them. Super excited about people like that. I'll hopefully get excited about my vote for governor, but I'm feeling bummed. I'm feeling bummed that someone like Spencer Pratt can even be a name that we have to talk about. I fear we're maybe going to keep growing in this way because of 2016, because of the floodgates that we've opened. But I think people on the left need to really figure some stuff out.
I think if we elect the right people, I think we're gonna look back at the end and be like, "Oh, this was an underrated draft class."
I hope so.
Headed up by Kenneth Mejia. All right, we gotta wrap this up because I know this episode's running long. We got a lot to talk about. I just want to remind y'all that all of the races we did not talk about, who we were voting for, is in the comments, and this is not including Clara. This is the three dudes who we're voting for. Although I think you can tell that at least ideologically we're pretty similar. Real quick before we check off, I want everyone to shout out their pet race that we've not talked about. I love me some Eunices Hernandez, CD1. Go vote for her.
Henry Mantel. I mean, I just
Henry!
want, like Henry was already
Henry.
on. Just please vote for Henry. That'd be awesome.
CD5. Henry's.
CD5.
We interviewed him a couple weeks ago. Go listen to
He's
our
amazing.
pod.
He's
He's
amazing.
such a great dude. Would be such a great candidate.
Yeah, same as mine. CD5 Henry.
CD1, you took mine. Love.
Oh!
There's some really good
Yeah.
candidates.
Yeah.
There's some
Yeah.
really good candidates in those races. Like those are, and they're very meaningful, very impactful.
Yeah,
So
vote
do your research,
CD13.
people.
Vote for Hugo Soto Martinez. It's really important that we protect
Mhm.
the progressives that are in the city council. There aren't that many of them. Got to vote for them.
Yes.
Vote for Faiza Malik in CD11. Tracy Park is literally a Republican. Get her ass out of here.
Fully.
And on that note, I think we are going to get our asses out of here. Take a look at our full ballots down in the comments. We really appreciate y'all hanging out with us, and we'll catch you next time.